Joining us now is the head of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel. Good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Great to be here.
So President Trump will be the first American president to run for re-election after having been impeached. How do you turn that into an asset?
Well, we're already seeing it as an asset with our base. We've added 600,000 new small online donors since this impeachment began. We're seeing his approval ratings tick up. We're seeing independents come our way because the American people recognize this hasn't been bipartisan. This hasn't been held to the standard we've seen with past presidents. And they really view it as Democrats pushing their agenda against a president they never wanted to see elected to begin with. And they fought him every step of the way. And then they see the president signing the Phase 1 deal with China, signing USMCA. He's governing while they're continuing to resist, and I think it's working in his favor.
So you've been fundraising off of impeachment, but the RNC is also picking up the tab, isn't it true, for some of the president's legal defense, his lawyers? This is instead of creating some kind of fund like Bill Clinton did when he was impeached. Why did the RNC choose to do it this way?
Well, we do have a legal fund that is specifically for these types of things. It's not taking away from our ground game or helping with re-election and our infrastructure we're building in the states. It's specifically for legal expenses. And guess what? We're paying for it and not the taxpayers. The Democrats are doing this on the taxpayer dime. They're not getting the things done that the American people want. And we're helping to pay for some of these costs because we don't want to see our president impeached. We think he should be reelected, and that's what the majority of our supporters and investors feel at the RNC as well.
Do you know what the cost has been?
I don't know what the cost has been.
So I want to ask you about some of the polls, your home state in particular, out there in Michigan. An Epic MRA poll shows that out there, President Trump trails all 5 top Democratic candidates. Who do you think is the toughest candidate for President Trump to beat? Joe Biden says you're scared to death of him.
Well, I'll just say this. Our internal polling, where we've been in all these states, our analytics, which is more accurate, shows the president in very good shape in all of these states. I am not concerned about any of them. Nobody has become the presumptive frontrunner. You're actually seeing more people get in the race. You're seeing an energy problem for Biden. You have a huge issue with his national security stances as vice president. And then with Bernie, he's gone way too far with talking about taking away people's health care plans and taking a government control of health care. So we're going to be good against any of them because we have a record that the president can run on of 7 million new jobs, wages going up. And you see in poll after poll that you do see people feel good about the economy. They know that they're better off than they were 4 years ago. And that's what we're going to get to run on.
And you think that's your strongest argument, the economy?
It's a huge argument. I mean, people have more money. They feel better about their future. They can send their kids to college. Their kids can get jobs after college. These are things that the American voter cares about.
But President Trump has already tweeted quite a lot in the past 12 hours or so about Mike Bloomberg. He told Fox as well he would love to run against him. Michael Bloomberg's already spent $250 million on his advertising around his campaign. President Trump has spent just slightly over $50 million. How concerned are you, not just about Bloomberg himself, but what he's building in terms of an operation that he says he will hand off to any Democrat who wins the nomination?
Well, he's building an outside operation outside of the party, which is like a super PAC, essentially, once he's not a candidate. I'm not concerned about that. From a party structure, we're working with our state parties, our county parties, our district committees. We're able to coordinate directly with the candidate. It's not an outside group. And the RNC's already on the ground in 18 states. We've already trained 500,000 volunteers. We're going into 2020 with $200 million between us and the Trump campaign. So we are building the biggest infrastructure in the history of politics. I'm not concerned about what Bloomberg's putting out, and his ads, I see them all the time. I think they're terrible. Mike gets it done. What does he get done? I don't know. I don't know anything about him. We're not seeing him talking to the voters at the level that I think you need to be competitive. Yeah. And the president's not afraid of anybody. Let's be honest. He punches at everybody.
Fair, but Mike Bloomberg has tremendous spending ability here.
He does.
He's not putting limits really on what he's willing to do to defeat President Trump. He's worth $60 billion and he's going to hand this off, even if it's not him.
Well, President Trump went up against Hillary Clinton, who had significantly more money than he did. We've seen candidate after candidate with these huge war chests come in and think they can buy an election, and the American people don't like that. And President Trump, if you look at the crowds that we're seeing, which are bigger than ever, 150,000 people signed up to come to a rally in New Jersey, in Blue, New Jersey. If you look at the fundraising, if you look at the enthusiasm.
Modeling a lot of what he's doing around what Trump did. It's a lot of digital.
Yeah.
It's a lot of TV.
He's modeling it, but he's
advertising.
not Trump. That's the big factor. Bloomberg is not Trump. He's not going to get a crowd like that. I'd like to see him do a rally and try and even get 100 people to come. I mean, this is not the movement candidate. Bloomberg, and I think he's got a real issue with the Democrat Party. I mean, listen, they just changed their debate rules and their structure for a billionaire, and they refused to do it when you had Cory Booker and Julian Castro saying, listen, we deserve more diversity on the stage representing our party, and they said, no, we're not going to change the rules for you, but this billionaire can buy his way into the debate. Bloomberg had every ability to change the way he was raising money to qualify for the debates, but they're changing the rules for the billionaire, and I think that speaks volumes about the Democrat Party.
I want to ask you, though, about President Trump's relationship with, he's reshaped the party. But there are still traditional Republicans who aren't entirely comfortable with everything he does, including your uncle, Senator Mitt Romney, who voted for witnesses. He was one of only 2 Republicans who did so in this impeachment trial. The Conservative Political Action Conference has disinvited him from an upcoming meeting, and they put up this ad online. There are TV ads against him. Do you think this is proper? Political retaliation? Are you comfortable with that?
I disagree that the president's changed the Republican Party. I think the president strengthened our party. And if you look at things that he's done...
I don't know if you saw that ad, but it was your uncle's face
I haven't seen the ad.
Disinvited, or not invited.
Well, that's the grassroots part of our party, and they're upset. They're upset when people aren't supporting the president and supporting our party, and they think if you're not supporting him, you're helping a Democrat get elected. That's a very common belief among the grassroots of our party. But I will say, this president has stood for life. He stood for rule of law judges. He stood for tax cuts. He stood for deregulation, energy independence. These are Republican ideals. And he has made the RNC significantly stronger by supporting our party. And we will be stronger after him because of the investment he's put in data and digital and the things to make us strong beyond his presidency.
Okay, I understand you don't want to comment on your comfort and your uncle and the comments about him. But we do have to leave it there. Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
In the studio.